Hi everybody, I'm Nolan Hoffman. Thanks for joining us tonight for East Texas in Focus. Let's get started. Tonight on this back to school season, we are focusing on the two largest school districts in Texas combined. Tyler and Longview ISD teach about 26,000 students. As they begin another school year, we had the opportunity to sit down and hear from both of their superintendents. They talked to us about what's exciting and new at their respective districts and the laws and changes coming this year out of the most recent legislative session. The regular session wrapped up in early June. From vouchers to a cell phone ban, the 89th legislative session is bringing transformative changes to Texas schools. With that, let's start with the controversial school choice program. Texas has now created one of the largest school voucher programs in the country. It allows families to use taxpayer dollars to pay for their children's private school education. State budget experts predict that the program's cost to taxpayers could escalate to roughly $4.8 billion by 2030. There was also House Bill 2, which gave an $8.5 billion boost to public schools. The bill mostly established two long-term teacher pay raise systems, including raises from $2,500 to $8,000 a year, depending on district size and teacher experience. And when it comes to what's happening inside the classroom, Texas is now joining several other states across the United States in banning cell phones in schools. Administrators will now be able to manage classroom disruptions with more discipline. And then there's Senate Bill 10, and it requires public schools to display the 10 commandments in each classroom. The law does not require districts to purchase the materials, but mandates that schools accept and hang them up if they are privately donated. And when it comes to a proposal that would have eliminated the state standardized test, or STAR, it fell through in the final days of the session. The proposal now has the potential of passing in the ongoing special session. Tyler ISD welcomed students to their campuses earlier this week, and with that, we had the opportunity to talk with their superintendent, Dr. Marty Crawford, about what some of these laws will look like for their 18,000 students. This is what he had to tell me. Dr. Crawford, thanks for coming on and joining us.
Hey, absolutely glad to be here. Certainly getting anything out to the community is certainly something that we're transparent about. We enjoy.
So I want to start with hearing this conversation about the new cell phone policy. A lot of people are talking about there at Tyler ISD. Explain the policy first off before I get into other specifics about that. Yeah,
you know, this year the legislature decided to go ahead and make it state law to not have cell phones from bell to bell. We probably would have written the law a little bit differently to have a little bit of flexibility in there, but as far as being fidelity with the law, no cell phones are allowed from bell to bell. It's the beginning of the school day to the end of the school day. There is some discipline that's afforded to it, about a 4-step disciplinary process there. $0, anywhere from 0 to 5 to 10 to 15 every time that is confiscated. There's also parental engagement every time that we do have an instance of that. You know, to be honest with you, K through 8, we've already had fidelity with that. It's going to really be a little bit of a change at the high school level, but I'm hearing some districts that have already started school that this has not been as big of a challenge as they said it was going to be. But again, we're doing it from the middle schools down to the elementary schools, completely gone in the elementary schools altogether. We'll have success at the high schools as well.
You got into it a little bit there about the consequences with this, but just can you talk a little bit about that a little bit more? What should parents and students know before they get back to
Well, first of all, let's put our phone away. I think a lot of these things can be taken care of before they actually get on the bus by the parent or in the car by the parent. And you know, parental engagement and having their partnership on this initiative is going to be extremely important. But you know, if you do get your cell phone taken up, let's not make a big deal about it. Let's just go ahead and say, you know, you got caught with that. We're going to work with you. We're going to have a little finesse and a little bit of growing into this policy as well. You know, it's going to really needs to work from campus to campus and classroom to classroom for this to have fidelity to this, so that we can get back to teaching and learning and not having those distractions inside the classroom. So it's going to be a little bit of a change, but I don't think it's going to be as big of a change as a lot of folks are anticipating. For one, every student has a device, a Chromebook, a computer that they're assigned. If a parent needs to get a hold of them, they can email them. There's no doubt about that. And then obviously, the way we all grew up, if there are phones in each classroom, if a parent needs to, or if a child needs to get a hold of a parent, they may be able to use the actual teacher phone, and then obviously if a parent needs to get a hold of a student, they can call the front office, which they're doing a lot of that already anyways.
So I want to switch over to House Bill 2 with teachers' pay raises at your school district. Again, I don't know if you can get into specifics about that, but what can you say about what came out of that?
Well, you know, what a great thing this last legislative session was. You know, I talked to Brian Hughes and Daniel Alders, our state senator and our state representative before the session. I said, if there's anything, if you come out of this session, the one thing that needs to happen is teacher compensation has to improve. We have to re-professionalize the profession, and one way to start doing that is to showing them that to get a bump. Now in Tyler ISD, because we have 18,700 students, we did not qualify for the really big bump as some of the smaller school districts did that are 5,000 students and below. But we did receive, I think for teachers that are year 3 and beyond, and year 3 to year 5 was $2,500, and then year 5 and after was $5,000 in increase. The state legislature did not provide any basic allotment increases, so any of the other staff and faculty, which everyone's going to get a raise this year, was actually done with through some leaning up of some efficiencies inside of our own school system. So again, excited about the teacher compensation being increased. Our state legislators did a great job of doing that for us in the 89th legislative session, and then the Board of Trustees along with district staff has figured out a way to make sure that everyone else got a little bit of a bump.
Right, and then of course the Education Savings Account program, that goes into effect. I believe you were in opposition to it. Since you had some time to maybe think about this a little bit, I think it was signed back in early May, if I'm not mistaken. Is your thoughts still the same on this, or has anything changed?
Well, I think in opposition, I think we all play nice in the sandbox here in Smith County in regard whether it's public or private or charter schools. So I don't think it was so much of a local thing of being in opposition to that. I think we all compete very well against each other, and we all have great things that we do, and then we all have things that we struggle, and we all have challenges. This was more in opposition to the funding piece of this, because you start talking about taking out $1 billion of available dollars of state funding for public education. Why would I be for that? And so, you know, now that that's been passed, again, we're just going to continue to do what we can do and compete academically, which, you know, our college preparatory programs are outpacing a lot of private school metrics, a lot of charter school metrics, and other public schools as well. So we're excited about that. But also the way to compete is to make sure you're doing great things inside of student life. The student experience matters, the parent experience matters as well. So, you know, here in East Texas, I don't think you're going to see as large of an impact. There will be an impact as what you may see in some of the metropolitan areas like in Dallas, Fort Worth, or Austin, or Houston. Again, I was in opposition of and remain in opposition and remain concerned, because if you're going to take out of available dollars in the state budget, which includes local and state taxes that could potentially be considered for public school funding, then yeah, I'm going to be I'm not going to be in favor of that ever. So you don't see it having an effect at your school district? Well, I think it's going to certainly it'll have a little bit of an impact because it's available now. But again, if we can take care of what we're responsible for and do the things that we're responsible for well, I think you'll see students will be pleased with what we're doing, and parents especially, because they're the ones that will be in consideration whether or not they want to access a voucher or not.
And then another big topic is the new state law that requires the 10 Commandments inside the classroom. How is Tyler ISD going to be doing that?
Yeah, going to comply with state law. Again, that's a big conversation here today about all these different laws that have been enacted here, but every classroom will actually have an appropriate sized poster, I believe in the King James Version. So if you're like me, grew up deep East Texas Church of Christ, I can understand those these and thous and thus. But they're going to be posted, and we talked to our staff at Convocation at our big general district meeting this last week, and we're going to comply with the state law, and depending upon the teacher's faith tradition, we want to let the parents figure all that out. So if a kid's got a question about one of those 10 Commandments, you know, our staff guidance is going to be, hey, you need to probably talk to your parents about that. We're not going to try to evangelize to any kids, and at the same time, those that may not have the faith that matches with the Ten Commandments, we're not going to detract from those either. And besides, there's a sprinkling of those commandments that are probably pretty good reminders for us from a moralistic point of view. There's no doubt about it. There's some commandments in there that is just general practice so that we can have quality relationships as humans. And I think if you look at it from that point of view, and not from a dogmatic or theological point of view, I think that's certainly a thing that we can probably support inside of our classrooms.
All right. Dr. Crawford, thanks for joining me.
Sure, absolutely.
All right, that's a good start tonight. When we come back with East Texas in Focus, we hear from Longview ISD Superintendent what the new school year has in store for their students there. We'll be right back in just a couple of moments. All right, welcome back. Well, Longview ISD is one of 4 school districts that serve families in the city of Longview. The district is home to more than 8,100 students. They are spread out across a total of 12 campuses. These include 7 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, Longview High School, and 1 academy. Additionally, there is 1 magnet school within the district as well. The district has a staff of around 1,200 employees. Longview ISD also welcomed their students back to campuses earlier this week. With that, we had the opportunity to also sit down with their superintendent, Dr. Marla Shepard, who is entering her 2nd year leading the district. We also asked her about what some of these laws will look like for their students there. Also got a major update on construction around the district. Here's part of that conversation. Dr. Marla Shepard, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me this morning.
Absolutely. So I want to get right into it. I want to talk about the new cell phone policy at your school. Talk to me about that. What is it going to look like as students are now back in the classroom?
Yes. Well, cell phones have been banned across the state, and so children are not to use cell phones during the school day, period. And the school day consists of every part of the day. That's between classes, that's during lunch, that's physical education, recess, that's every part of the school day. So children are not supposed to use cell phones at all. And we've complied with that policy in Longview. Our students are not, they're not able to bring their cell phones to school as in K through 2, but then from 3rd grade on up through high school, we allow them to bring it, but every school has their own unique policy around how they'll actually store the phones or where the phones will actually be stored.
Just a basis, the consequences, let's say at the high school, yes. If a student gets caught with their cell phone when they're not supposed to, what is that going to look like? Yeah,
we have a comprehensive policy that was created collaboratively with our parents, our students, our teachers, our administrators at the high school, and what we've decided is that there are warnings, and then for us, the penalty is not that we're actually taking the phones away and not allowing the kids to bring them, but they'll actually be able to turn them in every day in the morning and pick them up at the end of the school day. And we have what's called penalty pouch. It's the same pouches that everybody else is using. However, we're using them more in a different way. We're trusting our kids, the honor policy, we're trusting our kids to put the phones up during the day. And when we see that they can't do that, then that's when we come in and we ask them to bring their phones in the morning to an administrator, and then they pick them up at the end of the day. But that's after like maybe the 3rd time where we've actually had to remind them of putting the cell phones up. We're trying to give them the grace right now to adjust to the new policy, but after so long, then we're not going to allow them to have the phone at all in their possession during the school day.
And then I want to switch over to the House Bill 2, the teachers' pay raises that came from that. What is that going to look like at your school district? I don't know if you can get into specific numbers on that, yes. But what can you say?
So any teacher that's been in the district for 3 or 4 years got a $2,500 raise. Teachers who've been in the district 5 or more years got a $5,000 raise. And as a district, we gave all of our 1st and 2nd year teachers a $1,500 raise. And I think this raise it's incredible for our teachers. we know teachers put a lot into what they do every day, and districts run because we have great teachers. And so them receiving this raise has been paramount for them, and we're very excited about it. And so we hope that it does retain teachers, because we know that retention is something that across the state we need to work on with our teachers. And I think showing them that we appreciate them through this raise is going to help us retain them.
Some people have said there is a teacher shortage in Texas. Do you think that's the case?
There is a teacher shortage. We're fortunate in Longview in that we don't have any teacher vacancies right now, but we had to work really hard to get our teachers. But I think the most important thing, it's not the recruiting, because I think we find that we can recruit people, but it's the retention, and that's the reason why the additional funds will help us, because we don't want to just recruit. We recruit 10 and then 10 leave, then you have a net zero. But if we can recruit teachers and retain them, then it helps everybody.
And then, of course, the Education Savings Account program, the vouchers. It's been some time since it was signed into law by the governor. What do you think about it?
You know, I think now that we have public school funds that are being diverted into private school, it just creates a more competitive market. But as Lobos, we love nothing more than a good competition. And so for us, that just means that we've got to make sure everybody knows that we are the best well-kept secret in East Texas, and that we are the best district for students to come to.
Are you expecting it to affect Longview ISD at all in the coming years?
We're working on that, and we're working on it not affecting us, so that people know and believe that they're getting a quality education right there. I think what it's done is it's just created a more competitive market, but we know with competition, it's just about making sure that you're the best.
And then, have you heard any concerns, though, from parents on this topic at all, or just anything you could say about that, anything they've been telling you?
Of course, lots of people have had their own varying opinions about it. I have my opinions about it, but I think what we're all focused on right now is making sure that we have the best situation for the kids who we have, and that we're displaying all of the wonderful things that we're doing so that parents can trust us, because I believe this is a trust issue. It is about making sure that you have the right things in place so parents can trust you with their most treasured possession.
And then there's also been some upgrades going on around the district there. The high school, I believe, new safety measures on campus there are being put into place. What's all that supposed to look like if nobody's aware of this right now?
Yes, we actually got new cameras at the high school, new safety cameras, which have a very high resolution. We have a new gate, a fence that's been installed all around the high school so that we can keep our kids safe. Those points, those entry points will actually you'll have to be badged in and badged out, so that we can make sure that our children stay safe and the right people enter into our high school. We've done lots of renovation at our high school, but a lot of what we're trying to do is to keep our children safe. Safety is above all for us, and so we've installed cameras all around the district at all the other schools as well, and we have some more things that are coming. We passed a bond in 2024. $20 million of that is going towards safety measures, and so lots more safety measures are coming in Longview so that we can keep our children safe.
Did some of these safety measures come from the Texas mandate to make school safer,
yes.
Schools safer here in Texas?
Yes, they did, and we actually have a police force. Our board actually voted for us to start our own police force, so we'll have Longview ISD Police, and we're in the process right now of hiring marshals. We'll have marshals at our elementary schools, and our middle and high schools will actually have armed officers as a part of our police force, and then we're hiring a chief of police to be responsible for that department.
Absolutely. I also know there's going to be a new basketball court at the high school. That's got to be exciting, right?
Oh, it's beautiful. It's done.
Is it done?
Have you seen it? You haven't seen it yet?
I've not seen it.
I've got to show you a picture. It is beautiful.
What was I'm not really familiar on why it was installed there. It was just an upgrade over time, right?
It's a part of our bond.
Okay.
Our high school got lots of money for upgrades because it was built in '77, and so some of the things that are there have been there since that time. So it's just time for upgrades. We got new floors in our halls. We got new lighting. We're getting new wall panels. We've got the new Coliseum floor. A lot of things. One of these days you'll have to come over and walk because it's beautiful. Our high school is really transforming, and all of that because of Bond 2024.
This is going to be your second year there at the district as superintendent. What have you learned so far there? What have been, I guess, what's been your favorite moment, and what are you hoping to accomplish this year?
Just building relationships with the community and all the staff. It's really been great, and relationships are paramount to the success of any leader. And I think just getting to know the district and really understanding where you are, and that's been really important to me. I've been focused on really learning the context of all things Longview so that I can be the best leader I can. My decisions are only as good as my information, and so the more information that I get from the community, from all of those who are invested in the district, create a better situation all around for us as we make the best decisions moving forward.
Dr. Shepard, thanks for talking with me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good luck in the school year.
Thank you so much.
All right, when we return, some advice from both superintendents as students begin a brand new school year here in East Texas. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back tonight. For the next 10 months, students will learn, grow, and build community at school districts across East Texas. Both superintendents we heard from shared with us some advice for the new school year. Here's more on what they had to tell me.
It's always exciting, the first of school. Before you know it, we'll be enjoying the Friday night lights. We'll be enjoying the weather change that always encompasses going back to school as well. So maybe fall is around the corner and all this heat's going to subside a little bit. Our facilities are in great shape. Our custodial staff, our maintenance staff have spent all summer making the repairs that they needed to make from last school year, because, you know, kids are pretty tough on buildings, but we're excited about that, and I hope that the parents are excited about another school year as well.
There are a lot of opportunities for parents to become involved in the school and exercise those opportunities. I know as a district we're doing a lot more with parent engagement this year. We actually hired a director of parent engagement so that we could offer more opportunity. But I would just advise our parents to become involved in the school. Even when your kid is in high school, it's very easy to take a hands-off approach once they get there and say, oh, they made it, I'm done. But keep your hands on them all throughout the years and be an involved parent. And for students, put your best foot forward every day. And I'll tell my son that every morning when you go to school today, show everybody how smart you are. Put your best foot forward, because this is building skills for them that will not just transcend for their academic career here in Longview, but for the rest of their lives. They're building those skills and those muscles that will help them to be the best that they can be for forever. And so I would just advise all kids to put your best foot forward every day, and parents, stay involved.
All right, coming up after this quick break, some closing words here on our topic. We'll be right back. All right, tonight's episode, we will conclude our Back to School series here on East Texas in Focus. If you missed our other two episodes, you can catch those online right now over on KETK.com or Fox51.com. You can also find them on the KETK Facebook page as well. We hope your family has gotten a lot of useful information these past weeks, and we're wishing everybody to have a great school year filled with major success. That's going to do it for this week. Next weekend, of course, we'll zero in on more issues right here on East Texas in Focus. Have a great night, everybody.